Hi folks, welcome back to our next tutorial, which will be about basic keyframe animations.
So let's have a look on the keyframe animation. First of all, you're going to need this node. This node, you can see its content over here in the animation editor. And there's the time view, which is empty at the moment, the logic view, and the diagram view, which we will not talk about here today. If I now, for example, take the X value, I can say, get your X value from this keyframe animation. And you see it pops out here. Same for the Y value. So now you have two channels here for the X and the Y value, but you have no states. So now let's say we want to define a state. You can do this by double clicking in the logic view or by creating a state mark in the time view. You can bind those two by just right clicking on them and drag and drop. Then you'll see we got this channel, and now we can change the values. For example, let's say state 1 is over here and state 2 is over here. Make sure if you change this value to be with this red line right above the state. You can also do this by double clicking the state itself here. If you do this somewhere like here, this won't save the position. If you, for example, want to say if the animation is at this point, I want the cube to be down here, you can add a keyframe over here, and you'll see this keyframe over here. You'll iterate to the Y value first, and then go back to 0 over here. To start your animation, you just have to click on your animation node and, for example, click next or previous. So note that you can drag and drop those methods over here. You can, for example, say, you see like this symbol is over here and this one is over here, which just says if I'm in state 1 and the next method is triggered, which is over here, I'm going to interpolate to state 2. And if in state 2 and the previous method is triggered, I'm going to interpolate to state 1. So I can also say, I'll take this next method and drop it here. This overrides the previous method. And if I now say next, I can go forth and back just by pressing next all the time. Because, as you can see, also if it's in state 2, it says if next is pushed, I'm going back. Another way to control your animation is with a simple control node. You can bind the control property to the simple control node. Don't forget, I get my control from the simple control node. And here you can just define the progress. So you can say from 0 to 100. You could also again bind this on a mover. Also, you can take a timeline control. I'll delete this. And say I get my control from the timeline control. And here you can control it by time. So let me reset those values and I'll show you something different. I'll now quick bind the X and Y values to a keyframe animation, which you can see over here. I'm going to the animation channel and see those values I just added. I'm going to the logic view, create, for example, two states, bind them to each other, and now I have those channels here. Well, let's say state 1 is middle. As you can see, it's in the middle. Then state 2, let's say, is top left. I'll make the cube a bit smaller so we can see this better. Change the bevel a bit. Now you can add another state, like a third state. Bind it to each other and say the third state is top right. I'm now going to do this for all the corners of the screen. As you can see, now I've created all the states and I can simply interpolate between them. You can also go on your animation node and say next. What we now are going to do is create connections between all the states, so we can go to every position from every position. To make this animation non-linear, just click on Auto Connect States, create all-to-all connections, create animation rules, and override existing rules. Now, Ventuz has connected all the states with each other, like this. And it also created all the methods to interpolate between them. So if you go on that node now, you see those animate controls. And they say like bottom right, top left and all that. And I can just push them and it goes top left, top right, middle, top left, bottom, wherever I want to have the cube. So as you see, this is pretty easy. We can also jump to a state, and this we can do by whether create jump state rules automatically or by edit custom model, add method, for example, jump to 1. As you can see, Ventuz created this method. And now I can just drag it where I want it to be, for example, on the middle state itself. And now you can see this icon is on the middle state. Every time I use this method, it will jump to this state. For example, if I'm going to whatever button right now, jump to middle. There won't be an animation, and you can do this anytime inside the animation.
Okay, that's it for now, and in the next tutorial we'll be talking about advanced keyframe animations.